And the part of this arc that I've been waiting for is like, yes, no, goodbye, you two little trash tier villains, where it's like, let's steal children. It's like, no, let's get a more interesting character involved in this. And wow, this episode, I will say this much, Nolad, this has easily cemented that Gauch is the fucking worst. Like, it's like, even as well in the manga, I was like, holy shit, he is just not, like, don't care for this character, and I remember a lot of people saying, oh, just give him some time. No, he is the absolute worst piece of shit, and I know clearly with the, like, next episode, it's like, but no, he has his redeeming factor. No, he is an absolute vile piece of shit character. He is, like, and that's clearly what they're going for with him, where it's like, he has this one joke, but every time he ever talks, he has no redeeming factors. He doesn't do anything unless it's for his fucking little sister. He willingly makes, like, endangers other people's lives and kids for his own self-desire. He is a terrible human being. So, like, yeah, no. This is why I was like, this is Gauch's arc, and it's like, yeah, this is Gauch's arc, and it shows you, it's like, why you didn't want to know more about him in the first place, because of the shitty show. But no, let's bring in Sally, and let's bring in some pretty shocking, decent animation in this episode, which was, like, kind of the bit turning back. I was like, okay, yeah, no, let's get out the two trash tier guys, like, and bring in, like, her, because she's a lot more of an interesting character to focus on. The same thing can be said with the priest nun, so let's jump into this episode, because this one was a little interesting, because starting off and I was like, oh, here we go. Every time we see the Baha guy, like the Green Mantis dude, I'm like, oh, filler time, let's go, let's see what they're going to do. Clearly we need to buy time for this episode, and it was like, the way how they were handling it, like, especially with this episode, I was thinking like, wait, are they going to stretch it as much, where it's like, because the preview put it out as like, who is this mysterious person joining the fight? And in this episode, they kind of clearly let you know, like, who they have been working for. It's like, no, they've been working with Sally, they've been working with, like, the Midnight Sun, and it was like, they are clearly showing this, but it's like, the preview was like, it could be a mystery, it could be a third party, it could be someone we don't know yet, and it's like, no, they're clearly showing that, and it's like, Baha motherfuckers, like, they're going up to the Black Ball base, and it's like, Yami, like, I need help. Gordon's there, and, like, the whole part of their episode was, like, they had a little gag where it's like, oh, he's absolutely terrifying, and he's like, you know, let's be friends and all this, like, you know, that shit, and it's like, I like I said, I really hope more with, the anime is really trying to include a lot more Gordon, because he just, until recent manga chances, I have to remind you, Gordon finally had a moment to really shine, and then that was it. So, like, we didn't even know till now, and if it wasn't for them to keep reminding you in the anime, where it's like, this is his power, this is what he can do, and it's like, I feel like they're really trying to cram him a lot more in, because definitely out of everyone, and, like, with especially the next arc, he is definitely the most underused and, like, underdeveloped character out of all of the Black Balls, and I'm like, I'm fine. It's just like, I guess this is the problem with a lot of these characters, where it's like, a lot of them are really one-dimensional, and, like, a lot of the additional scenes that they add really doesn't help that, and I know that later on a lot of them get their moments to shine, but definitely, like, not all. This is the thing where it's like, I like the Black Balls, like, and I've made this comparison to Fairy Tail, where it's like, Fairy Tail has the same problems as well, and there's multiple casts, but the people that I like in the Black Balls, I like more than most of the Fairy Tail cast just all together, like, where it comes from there. And it's like, I like Luck, I like Magna, I like definitely Yami, Vanessa, I like them, like, heck, Gray's fine, like, when we find out more about that character with Gray, it was like, that's an interesting thing. It's like, and honestly, out of all of them, Gauch and Gordon are probably, and I don't want to mention the others and all that obviously aren't going to turn up in this season. It's like, there are some of them where it's like, they're kind of interesting, but, like, definitely Gauch and Gordon have been the weakest ones. I think in the anime, it's definitely been Gauch, Gordon, and Gray has literally done nothing, apart from, like, a nod to some, like, manga reader, like, onlys, which we're not even going to see a lot about Gray probably till, like, the final arc of the anime, so definitely going more into that. And, like, when we explore, is like, Yami's like, I don't want to get involved in this fight, fuck this, this isn't really my point. Like, he's actually lackadaisical, and he's like, it's late, I don't care, Aster and all them have got it, who cares about that? And it's like, you're a Magic Knight, you have a fucking job to do right now. Maybe get off your ass and fucking do something. And clearly with the, if you guys have seen the opening, you clearly see that Yami's obviously going to get involved in this arc and see a little bit more about him. So, yeah, kind of a waiting. Yeah, there's sometimes where the anime openings, they're clearly there to get you excited, but then the characters are like, nah, I want nothing to do with this. And it's like, you literally saw the first minute of them trying to help, literally helping and attacking people, but when we get into the episode, we see a little bit more about the nun as well, which was kind of, we find out that she was a former Magic Knight and that she was actually Fagolion's teacher, which was, I always thought was cool in the manga as well. I was like, oh, she actually taught Fagolion and taught her the ways, and exactly this is where he gets all of that stuff from. And clearly, at like when she looks at Aster, it's like that I can see a little bit of that rubbing off. So I'm glad that some of my my studies into him have clearly not failed. And like another thing where it's like she knew Sister Lily when she was there training, and it's like, yeah, there's a little nice little moment there where it's like Sister Lily says like, oh, you're kind of an annoying piece of shit, but like overall he has this whole thing of like, not get, the main protagonist's thing, or like not giving up and not giving, like, no matter what's down, just keep training and training, whereas like he keeps doing that and he has a near impossible dream. So and when I'm trying my damnedest just cleaning this place, might as well, like, so overall it's like, oh, that was a decent little moment. But when it involved Gauche, who was which really, you get to see a lot of cool, like, no matter what, how much I hate the fucking character, like, he does have some decent abilities with his, like, reflect refrain, his mirror double, where he's, like, using it and he's, like, tricking the opponents with, like, making doubles of himself, and it's like, he decimated the Snow Kid. It was not even a contest at all. Like, as I mentioned as well last week, he is clearly one of the stronger members, like, next to Luck and obviously, like, Magna. It's like, a few of those characters later on, where it's like, these are our strongest members, and it's like, yeah, this goes to show that he is, and it's like, you'll see, like, he can actually do some kind of cool stuff with it, and they really showed it. They definitely, in the animation studio, it's like really showcasing like a lot of really cool stuff that he can do with a reflective ring, where it's like bouncing off multiple angles when it's hitting a salamander. It's like, it's doing all this really nutty stuff, and I'm glad that the visuals, if anything, was like the most of the positive stuff, and especially with like Asta and also the sisters kind of relationship, where I was like, oh, okay, that's nice and all that. But I'm still like, Asta's relationship with Sister Lily has always been kind of one of the weaker things for this show, where it's like, I'm kind of glad they just dropped it after a while, but then it was like in the manga they kind of brought up again. I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing, and I again, in the manga, it's like, it's nothing really that's brought up again, because it was really creepy, and the anime made it sound even more creepier with like his relationship with Sister Lily. And it's like, I'm glad that like the whole with the whole priestess, where it's like, no, I actually was a Magic Knight, and now I look after these kids, and now we get the situation. However, they do one really stupid thing, and it's like, Bargo, like, where the fat dude that looks like me with longer hair and the glasses, like, whatever, like, that dude, it's like, let's tie him up. Don't you be doing anything evil now. And both of them walk away, and he's like, oh, I can still use magic, I guess. Lols, let's get a little mudman out of here and just go and call for help. And I'm like, oh my god. I can't remember if that's in, like, I actually don't remember if that's in the manga or not. I definitely, still the same situation happens, but I cannot remember if that was a manga. I'd like to say it is, but either way, it's like, oh, that makes both of you look like fucking idiots. Why would you trust him for a second that he wouldn't try and escape and slip out of there? It's like, it's bad, but it's like, at the same time, you had Gouge beating up on the other dude, where it was like, he is being a monster right now, where it's like, this guy, like, obviously he's clearly fucked up for like trying to kidnap these kids, and he's like, I wanted friends and everything. It's like, I wanted to be people like me, and it's like, you hit Mary, and so I'm going to stomp on you. I am clearly going to do attempted murder on you. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, look, she's alright, she's not got perfect. I know, obviously, you've got to kind of keep your head, like, calm down, and that's the problem, where it's like, Gauche refuses to listen. He just does not listen at all to what anyone is really saying. It's like, look, she's fine, like, don't worry about it. And it's like, I know you two have a very close relationship and everything, but it's like, it gets to the borderline. It's like, no, dude, this is creepy, this is some fucking pedophile, like, shit, like, that's your sister, it's really fucking creepy. And it is the weakest thing of the anime's adaptation, where it's like, they really, like, the characters in the manga clearly have their flaws, but the anime really enhances those, where it's like, it definitely, their weaknesses come out more than their strength, and that's the one thing where it's like, I kind of wish the anime kind of even like removed, because then again, it's the manga's fault for kind of like, or the author's fault for kind of putting in these faults in the first place, or it's like, yeah, no, he has this kind of thing, and it's like, oh, but he's really strong though, or it's like, she's really weak. I kind of like, they definitely like, I think the problem is like, just with the adaptation, they linger too much on scenes, and that's definitely not one hell. And it's a shame, because I did like this episode. It's just like, it really cemented that Gauche is the worst, especially that he ran away in the end of this episode after fucking Sally appeared, and not to mention, it's like, it helped a lot, where it's like, this is what's wrong with this adaptation, and at the same time, this is what's right about this adaptation, where it's like, some of the scenes, some of the action scenes that they're portraying are really good, some of the, like, especially some of the voice actors, and it's like, every time I listen to it, it's like, wow, Asta now is fine. Like, the voice actor is fine, and that took 30 to 20 episodes to finally, be like, he's not unbearable like the first couple of episodes. It's still I would still go with dub in my heart, but especially when we saw later on in this episode, where it's like, oh, they let him call in Sally, which Sally comes in, and it's like, okay, this is weird and all that, like, sure, why not? I'm so happy to see you again, Asta, surprise! And brings out the sticky salamander, and not even any of them can hit her at all, because her sticky salamander is like, it just goes for his Asta's sword like it's nothing. Gauche is like, the salamander can absorb thing, and they brought it up again. It's like, they took out, like, they were dealing with Nozzle's ability with the salamander, so not Gauche is going to have the chance against us, neither is any of the priests. Like, we need some serious backup with this one. This is something that, with our current skill levels and our situational magic, it's like, we can't do too much against this shit, and it's like, it gets to the creepy point where she's licking Asta and, like, biting into him, getting his blood. And it's like, oh, you definitely look like a human, though. And it's like, but there's, something off about you in the anti-magic. And it's like, she just is obsessed with the little shit. And it's like, especially where it's like, the guy was like, untie me now. Please untie me. And it's like, alright then. Like, I'll do that. Are you really sure, though? And, like, heal you up? I mean, are you sure? And it's like, just sure. Do anything. And she literally puts in a needle through his neck and turns him into this really grotesque, creepy mud monster, which was like, oopsie, little calculation error there. And it's like, oh, I think his personality went bye-bye. And it's like, Sally helps and all that. I definitely like the voice actress that they got for Sally. They definitely really sell her kind of like kooky, like, craziness out of her, like, which, this is what I was looking forward to. I was like, especially when it's like, this arc starts off so fucking bad, like, and especially where it's like, these are our villains and this is our character we're supposed to relate with and kind of like start to get to know, and it's like, no, I want Gauche out of my face. I want him out now. And it's like, oh, he's leading. Good riddance. And it's like, but then you remind, he's like, oh, he just left Asta and all those kids. He left like 20 kids to die. He is a piece of shit human being. No, like, no matter what, he's getting his sister out of there. It's like, no, you're a terrible fucking human being. Get out of there. You're an actual garbage person. And it will just keep cementing. And I know this whole review is being going at Gauche, but it's like, this is his arc, this is his time to shine. It's like, no, you fucking suck. You generally suck, Gauche. And like, I kind of wish if any Black Ball member was to die, he would be there near T. Like, after that, then, like, honestly, the rest of them are fine. Like, I just honestly wish improvements, but it's like, if there's one where it's like, yeah, no, you could die, it would be Gauche. It's like, no, you get out of here and make room for like other cooler, newer characters, which, who knows, like, especially with the manga now, maybe they might do something really interesting with Gauche. So like, particularly with how things have been shaken up recently. So I'm looking forward to that, at least. I mean, I thought the overall episode was fine. Like I said, it's improving, and definitely, like, yeah, I think story-wise, there were, like, some dumb decisions done by some characters. There were, like, literally, like, the filler parts of there was, like, they were really hit or miss. I felt like, well, for one, too, I think, like, the starting of there, I was like, I'm glad it didn't linger on too long, but it's, like, it was still a weird part of it. Like, Like, and I honestly don't remember if that little Mudman, like, sneaking to activate the alarm was part of the manga, or if that was an additional scene, but even still, that's a stupid thing for Asta and, like, the priest lady to do on there. And yeah, gosh, it's so, like, but this episode was definitely sold by having really good animation. There was actually, like, as much as I've critiqued the Black Clover soundtrack, there was one or two tracks here where I was like, oh, they sound kind of nice. And I think it was like the White Knight Eyes theme where it's like, that sounds cool, and it's like, this is something I want to hear a little bit more, because it's definitely Clover's biggest weakness is its soundtrack like that. Apart from its pacing, I think, like, out of every periodic show, it's like, we'll hammer it down. It's like, this needs a better, like, soundtrack and some more hyper track music, so like the battles, and also as well for the key emotional parts. So look, I'm definitely looking forward to more of these future episodes. I'm glad I was finally able to catch this episode and talk about it, as obviously it's been a couple of days since, like, the episode came out, and I finally got a chance to talk about it. So let me know, guys, in the comment section down below. But that's all for me. Thanks always for watching. I'll see you guys, though, next time.